Morning, everyone. And I can't tell if it can be heard. Can I be heard out there? First of all, I'd like to thank the Civil Affairs Association, the Reserve Officers Association, and the Peace Operations Policy Program for inviting me to speak here today. Last time I spoke in the National Capital Region was back in February of this year when I addressed the Civil Affairs Association winter meeting. At that time I was working in the USACAPOC G8, where we focused on a lot of issues such as forest design, relocation, realignment, and actually a lot of the strategic and forward-looking strategies that we're discussing this weekend. And I'm glad to see that today we have two of our representatives from the USACAPOC G8, Lieutenant Colonel Richie Moore and Dale Walsh back there. Since June of this year, I've been working for Major General Morris as his G3, following in such able footsteps as our current Chief of Staff, Colonel Chris Leidy, who, if I'm not mistaken, is the last active component officer currently in the KPOC headquarters. And of course, I guess did Ferd just take off? Just walked out the door. Also following the able footsteps of Ferdy Rosari, who left this job about 2 years ago to take on the 95th CA Brigade. And at the time, when he was a 3, I used to wonder why he was returning my emails at 8 o'clock at night routinely. Now I know that 8 o'clock is usually the first time I get a chance to look at some of my emails, and I just wanted to thank Fred for the recommendation for this job. I'll have to get him later. The G3 will soon follow other organizations throughout the Army and be renamed the G357 because we are the hub of the operations, plans, training, and mobilization of the Army Reserves, Civil Affairs, and PSYOP forces, less the 322nd CA Brigade in Hawaii. Major General Morris calls the G357 the engine room of USACAPOC, and as a chief engineer in the engine room, he doesn't let me leave the office very much. Well, thanks, sir, for letting me come down here, or up here, I should say, this weekend. But I just want to let you know I've got a lot of great folks working for me back there at Fort Bragg, AGRs, civilians, and mobilized reserve soldiers who do a tremendous job every day in keeping those engines running and keeping the command moving through these times of transitions and uncertainty. In the interest of keeping my slides to a minimum, I don't have a purpose slide, but I do have an agenda slide. And this is my view from the engine room. This morning my plan is to start off with a review of the USACAPOC mission and force structure, both current and objective. I have a slide that reviews the request for forces process in a somewhat simpler manner than what Colonel Mike Stout covered yesterday in his short but sweet Global Force Management brief. Then I'll provide a general overview of how civil affairs forces get to theater today. Finally, I'll highlight some of the command, control, and employment challenges we currently face at USACAPOC. Our basic mission statement remains the same, and it's surprisingly similar in some ways to FER's mission for the 95th CA Brigade. It acknowledges the fact that USACAPOC is a force provider for all USAR, CA, and PSYOP forces. Now we provide support not just to military operations, but to the 3Ds. Not the new ones I learned yesterday, doom, danger, and disconnected, though sometimes it does feel like that, but defense, diplomacy, and development. Brigadier General Jacobs showed an organizational chart of the smallest KCOM and USACAPOC yesterday. But this is what the entire KPOC currently looks like organizationally. Many of you have seen it before. But we no longer have the 95th CA Brigade. What we do have, we still have 4 KCOMs, 7 brigades, 24 tactical battalions, and 4 special operations battalions. And we still have a coordination link to the 322nd out in Hawaii. We also have this unit formerly known as the Warrior Brigade, now called 1st Training Brigade. It was created about a year and a half ago to manage the post-mobilization training requirements of our forces as they deployed through Fort Bragg. After some adjustments to command and control relationships that will occur later on this year, this is how we expect our organization to look like by the end of FY11. The previous chart depicted our battalions with regional focus. But as several of the KCOM commanders mentioned yesterday, the reality is with ARFAGEN, our tactical forces are subject to worldwide deployment. However, they will retain regional orientation to maintain language and cultural awareness skills. And as long as we can management, they will continue to be deployed in theater security cooperation missions, exercises, and contingencies to the regions with which they are associated. When I spoke to the CA Association in February, I had a slightly different version of this slide. I caught a little flack by some of the folks who were concerned that our unit relocation and realignment plan changed, or seemed to change, every time it was briefed. I responded that something along the lines of, in this case, it's not over till it's over. The plan belongs to the Commanding General and is a phased process with built-in reviews that will continue to respond to changes in the recruiting market, access to facilities, and command guidance. Well, guess what? Since February, the plan has changed. And for instance, during a recent relocation relook in August, it was decided that all command and control realignment changes will occur this FY 2008, instead of being phased over 4 years. This was done to facilitate the management of the moves and deployment preparedness by allowing the gaining unit to take charge early. Another change was to adjust the split location of the 431st Civil Affairs Battalion from Middleton, Tennessee to Jackson, Tennessee, due to the loss of access to facilities in Middleton. Also, this is coupled with the command and control realignment of the 431st from the 321st CA Brigade, which it's currently aligned with, to the 360th CA Brigade to replace the loss of the 402nd, which is no longer moving to Virginia, as I briefed in February, but due to at the direction of the CAR, is moving to Puerto Rico, as we've all heard before. And as General Morris mentioned yesterday, the end state of our UC-KPOC realignment and relocation plan is by FY11. Well, by FY11, it results in a spread of forces, KPOC forces throughout 31 states and 1 U.S. territory. Michael Stout took us through a somewhat complicated global force management process yesterday, and I must say record-breaking time. But I think this depiction provides a simpler way of looking at the process. Prior to realignment, the boxes on the left didn't exist for us. We had a single request chain for all Army, CA, and PSYOP under USASOC. But now we've got dual lines of control that forces the Joint Staff to take a greater role in determining which Joint Force provider will be tasked to support theater requirements. Where we would create multi-compo solutions to satisfy certain theater requirements in the past, we often now see GIFCOM and SOCOM pushing back on each other through the global force management process because they're trying to preserve the precious few forces they have. And so the Joint Staff is now the arbitrator for sourcing disputes. Each year, KPOC deploys about 1,700 soldiers on more than 62 what we call URFs, Unit Request for Forces, to support 3 major operations. We have another approximately 200 plus soldiers on active duty mobilized in CONUS to support our operational deployments. Next slide, please. Now we're kind of getting into a little bit the more complex slides that I have today. And just to let you know, I did not create this one, but I did update it slightly. My KPOC, I see Bill was laughing over there. I told him yesterday he would recognize one of these slides. Both Richie and Bill were part of the Tiger team that briefed General Cody, when he was the Vice Chief Staff General Cody, back in April of 2004, as part of the CA and PSYOP Tiger team, which General Cody formed to respond to the Secretary Rumsfeld's snowflakes regarding where civil affairs should reside. This slide was designed to portray the employment of CA and PSYOP forces under course of action 3, the split option, which was the least preferred course of action. But despite our recommendation in April 2004 and over a year of continued attempts to keep the force together, the decision was made, and now we're executing this process. On this slide, active component forces are depicted, outlined in red, and the USAR forces are depicted, outlined in blue. And as Ferdier has already said yesterday, USASOC remains the force provider for the active component CA forces. The 95th CA Brigade's primary focus They support the SOF and immediate response